This is Just Martin 91, and this is the 21st movie in the MCU chronology that I'm reviewing. I'm seem a bit shook up because I guess I'm like this every time I watch this movie near the end. Even though we all know, kind of what's going to happen. So we are talking about Infinity War. There's the steelbook case right here for the 4K. Yeah. Yeah. So, tomorrow is the big day. Well, for the fans who are going on Thursday night, and that's evidently what I've been counting down for this whole time, because technically, the movie's not out for 2 more days. Today, tomorrow, and Friday is the opening day. I'm going tomorrow night on Thursday. A lot of fans around the world in the U.S. and U.S. and Canada are going on Thursday, and that's evidently what I've been counting down for. That's why some of the teasers that were coming out for the movie weren't aligning perfectly for what I was counting down for. They were always behind a day. But yeah, no. Anyways, getting into this movie. This movie sets up one of the biggest movies of all time, which is coming up. All the movies beforehand that we have been covering have been amounting up to this grand final, and this is the wind-up. This movie is the wind-up. The execution, the big thing, is going to be coming up in a couple of days. Like, that's... And, yeah, here, let's focus here. I'm trying to channel this as much as I can. Thanos is out to get all the stones, basically, to execute his reign on the world. He thinks, basically, that the population is fucked. He thinks basically this will resolve that. He thinks that he can override all, basically. The Avengers and the Guardians need to unite after being separated amongst themselves, divided in civil war. This takes place shortly after, well, quite a bit after that. But they were divided, and they have to, on opposite grounds, fight one big power to stop this guy from executing the inevitable. If he gets his hands on all these stones, all these infinity stones that have been building up for the last few movies now, he can execute a complete world domination. That includes people, that includes planets, that includes every living being on the planet. And basically, if you haven't watched Infinity War yet, and if you've seen any teasers for Endgame, it's quite obvious, so I'm not spoiling anything at this point. The job is done. And now, everyone's who is still alive is going to get back on their feet, dust themselves off, such a bad choice of words, and try and undo all this. That's essentially the plot of Endgame, sure, but this was basically the plot of Infinity War. It has a pretty basic plot, but it was building up for so long that it really leveled everybody. Now, I'm not sure who among you saw Infinity War for the first time and haven't seen as many Marvel movies beforehand, and maybe you would have been able to get away with that with this one, but based on what I'm hearing, for Endgame, there's a lot of resources that need to be understood, a lot of information that needs to be taken in for you to have the full experience. You're still going to be able to enjoy it as a superhero movie, but it's going to be such a different experience. But I'm not talking about Endgame right now, I'm talking about Infinity War. I will be doing a review for Endgame tomorrow. Once I see the movie, it's going to be a non-spoiler. But I do want to give it my 2 cents. And honestly, like, since I covered everything else so far, I only find it fair that I kind of do a video of it. Yeah, this is what I have to say about Infinity War. It's a pretty basic plot. It's a really visual movie. I love the soundtrack. I'll say this. I love the soundtrack. And this guy actually, that guy actually scored, Alan Silvestri, he actually scored Captain America First Avenger. He scored the first Avengers movie. And he's scoring Endgame. I love his work. And he did Ready Player One recently. This guy did Back to the Future way back in the day. He scored those movies, and I'm a big composition guy when it comes to music, basically in movies. And I have been following this guy for quite some time. So when I heard he was coming back for Infinity War and Endgame, I was actually quite uh, amazed. I'm so happy. I'm so happy with the choices they made for on that regard, and in a lot of regards. I mean, like what they did, what Anthony and Joe Russo did with these movies, and what the whole cast did. What it's amazing the accomplishments they achieved. And if you're hearing any reviews right now, you're gonna know the massive thing you're gonna be taking a part of in a couple days. It's insane. Now, mind you, other countries are seeing it right now, so try to steer clear of spoilers. Honestly, I'm going to be going offline completely after this review. Until tomorrow night, I am a messenger if you want to reach me, but I'm probably not even going to turn my Facebook on. I don't even know. It's people I know are already getting spoiled at this point, and it's not right. I don't think it's right. So I'm going to try and steer clear of it. And same goes, when I see it, I will not be spoiling it for anybody. You can ask me whatever you want. I'm not telling you crap. You heard it here first. Don't accuse me of spoiling, because I will not spoil anything. I do want to give him my 2 cents about the movie, so I will do that. But that's all I can give you. And once you see the movie and you come talk to me, I'll talk to you. I just don't want to spoil it for anyone, because I wouldn't want to be spoiled myself. And that is how I feel everyone should be taking this. It's a promise that everyone should be keeping to themselves, basically. You wouldn't want to be spoiled, why do it for anyone else? Don't be that guy. Anyways, have a good one, guys. And we are in the Endgame, and we will be watching it quite soon. Forever MCU, as I said in my first video. Here we go.